It's my great honor and privilege to present Chogyal Norbu Rinpoche. Rinpoche was born in Derge, Eastern Tibet, and recognized as a tulkul, a reincarnation at an early age. He is among the last generation of Tibetans to have been fully educated in Tibet. His monastic college education included an in-depth study of Buddhist scriptures, including logic, philosophy, and medicine. He also received many tantric and Dzogchen transmissions and teachings from many of the leading masters of the day. In 1960, Chogyal Namkhai was invited to do research in Italy by Professor Giuseppe Tucci. From 1962 until 1992, as professor of Tibetan and Mongolian studies, Rinpoche taught and carried out research at the University of Naples Orientale. He focused his research on the early history of Tibet and on the origins of Tibetan culture. He has written innumerable works on Dzogchen. Rinpoche has founded the International School of, he has founded the Shangshung Institute, which is an international organization dedicated to the continuity and preservation of Tibetan culture. The Shangshung Institute has an international representation in multiple countries. As part of that organization, the Shangshung Institute in America has the Tibetan School of Medicine, which is the only school of Tibetan medicine in the United States. And it's a 4-year program, and we've discussed this at this conference here. Rinpoche was the founder of Asia, a humanitarian organization dedicated to serving the Tibetan people. Rinpoche has founded and is the head of the International Dzogchen community. He is one of the world's preeminent teachers of Dzogchen and has led over 500 retreats. He has written many profound and influential works on Dzogchen, Tibetan history, and culture. He has written and taught extensively on Tibetan astrology, Yantra Yoga, and Moksha Bushchen. Again, it's my great pleasure to present to you Chogyal Namkhai Norbu. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Good morning. I am very happy to be here with you. And I want to say, first of all, want to thank very much Atma organization. You successfully organized this meeting of the Tibetan medicine. This is something very important. And I wanted to also thank you for all doctors from different places coming and participating. That is also very important. Also people who are participating for this meeting. It is important because Tibetan culture, not only medicine, but in general, Tibetan culture, knowledge, history, everything is really very ancient. And it has something very important value for all globe, all people, not only for Tibetans. So it's important people know how is the value of the Tibetan knowledge, culture. And particularly then, medicine is very much then important for all human beings. So this is not only for Tibetans, but all traditions. In Tibetan, we are saying, for example, the science of the knowledge of the medicine is saying soa ripa. So it means curing. Why? Because we are living in a physical body. Always there is problems for everybody, not only for Tibetans, no? And also Tibetan medicine is called in Tibetan men. This is medicine. Member, it means doctors who are taking care of that, applying that. Men, it means benefit, a verb in Tibetan. We say we do benefit, it means that we do men, member. So that means then we have everybody in a human condition, particularly body, speech, mind, particularly body, until we are alive, indispensable is then just like a medicine. Why? Because our condition is composed with 5 elements. When 5 elements are not balanced, there are some problem, we have no health. So there is always problem. Also in medicine, explaining 3 humors, lung, tipa, peking. When there is all balanced, there is no problem, but we are living in a time. Time is then change, impermanent. Today is not tomorrow, tomorrow is not the after tomorrow. Situation change always. When situation change, also it is becoming secondary cause, how our condition is changed. For this reason, medicine is indispensable. Particularly Tibetan medicine, you can learn then it has such kind of very, very ancient knowledge. For example, in the history of the Tibet, when we are speaking, then we are going history of the Shangyong. When I did many years research in the university, so I am studying and doing research about Shangyong. When I started that research, most people there are not considering it as something important. But when my experience, when I am doing research with Professor Tucci and other Westerners, I understood it is very important for Tibetan culture knowledge. We must discover which is the source. It is not sufficient only what we developed. So then when I am going a little research, I discovered the source is the Shangyong. Why? Because in Tibetan or Buddhist tradition or Burn tradition, when we are explaining source of the Tibetan culture knowledge, we say Miu Dongtu. This is origin. Miu Dongtu from where? How? Exactly. Then Buddhist tradition explained it just a little different way. Burma tradition different way. It doesn't matter. But Miu Dongtu is the source of the Tibetan culture knowledge. So Miu Dongtu, then it is between 6 brothers, that means Miu Dongtu. So brothers, then that generation of the Dra, that is then origin of the Shangyong. They have then writings, for example. Other Miu Dongtu, how developed down, exact, there is no writings. So then, there had been then Burn tradition in the writings of the Shangyong. So when I am studying and developing from that, discovered in the Tibetan history and knowledge, everything is more or less very similar origin of the India and the China. So when I am studying at the beginning in the university, we have no study Tibetan language, literature, etc. 4 years. Other Chinese and Indian, they have 4 years. Tibetan only 2 years. Then I am asking why. Then it is the same because the Tibetan culture knowledge history is coming from China and in India. I am saying no, I don't believe that. Then that's the reason I am thinking, it is necessary to do research, origin. Then I am going to research in the Burn tradition. Because Shangyong, at that period, there is no Buddhist tradition, no? So then later some Tibetan lamas, and they are saying, Namkhai Norbu is become Burma. That's not true. I am not becoming a Burma, but it is very important for Tibetan culture, must study then Burn tradition. Otherwise, there is nothing. So then I studied and I did research. I wrote it down. Tibetan ancient history is 3 volumes. And the 2 volumes already we have then first and the second already then in English. Now we published. The third volume is we are finishing in September. Then there will be then presentation of this. So people who wanted to understand how is Tibetan culture, history, ancient time, you should read a little this book. That is for many years I did research. So it is very useful because for knowing really value of the Tibetan culture and history. So medicine is the same. Also medicine, we are saying, Tibetan medicine come from India, then Ayurveda, they translated. We have many books translated at that period, Tibetan medicine in Tanjore, for example. But not a source is that. So here you have in Dr. Punso, Tuten Punso, he worked with this origin burn tradition medicine, exactly. He knows very well. In example, it is very important. Ancient time there is from Shangjung coming Tibetan medicine, but then developed later from India also, then Ayurveda tradition, and also from China. And then there had been many meetings, many efforts. You are learning in history, then there is all explanations. Tibetan medicine is developed very perfect, combined many traditions, not only that of the Shangjung, no? So it is very important we are really learning and developing continually that knowledge of the Tibetan medicine, particularly in the Western world. Because some people there are thinking, Tibetan medicine is not traditional medicine in the Western world. But we must think function of the medicine. Medicine is for curing a person. If someone has a very heavy illness and they are almost dying, desire of that person is for curing and overcoming. It doesn't matter Western medicine or East and Tibetan or India, etc. No one is choosing that. So for that reason, if there is something, benefits, knowledge, etc. in Tibetan medicine, integrating also Western medicine, etc. Integrated, this is, I think, something very important. We must develop that way. So I am very happy here being with you because many doctors, they are experts. They have already such kind of experience in the Western world. For example, many of our doctors, they are working and they are living in the Western world, So how is the situation? This is very important. Medicine or history or knowledge, any kind, we should work with circumstance in a time. How it corresponds? How is the situation? This is very important. This is also important for living and developing. Otherwise, when we are remaining only traditional way and we are limited that way, then we couldn't develop. No, everything. So medicine is also same thing. For example, in illness, in example today, there is many illness which is explained in Tibetan medicine, Danchen and Dame. Danchen, what it means? Danchen, it means there is a negative provocation. It's combined with that illness. When we are studying, for example, saying if there illness, there is a Danchen, then doctor also need a little special. Someone is expert for doing practice, mantra or something for controlling that negativity. Otherwise, only illness that medicine couldn't cure, no? For example, I have my personal experience. When I had that illness of the cancer. And I am spending a long time in New York, that period. So in this case, then I thought, firstly, oh, I had the illness of the cancer. This is the time of my life, finished my life. Why? Because also when I was in my teacher Changchu Dorje, that my Dzogchen master, so one day, some people, local people, they are asking my teacher, saying then advice, and at the end saying, oh, how long I can live my life? And my teacher said very precise reply. He gave advice. I never had the courage to ask my teacher that in general. Also, I have not this kind of attitude. So then I thought, oh, I want to ask also. Then when these people went away, then I told my teacher, oh, they ask you the length of their life, and you gave them. Please give me also how long I can live. And then she gave me precise the year, how long I can live that year, that time. I wrote it down. I remember that. When I had this illness and the cancer, it corresponded very precise that year. Then I thought, oh, my teacher said also length of my life is that. Now is finished my life, really, I thought. And I have only idea for dying, that is all. I went in a hospital. I have no much idea can live again. But then when I passed 2 days or 3 days in the hospital, then I am thinking, sometimes when I am going around giving teaching, etc., there is a practice of the Red Garuda, Dharma teaching of Anzon Drupa. It is the same, particularly this teaching is good for curing cancer. Then cancer, then in ancient time, we have no, in medicine particularly explained of the cancer. But in this teaching is saying very precise. In the Asian mantra, for curing the cancer, should do visualization like this and chant this mantra. Then I received this transmission from some of the Anzon Drupa. I remember that, and then I am giving this transmission people who has illness of cancer. Some people, they said, doctor gives only 6 months of their life. And when I give this teaching, they did practice intensively, and they overcome with this problem. At least 2 or 3 people, they told me they overcome that. Then I am remembering, maybe I want to do also this practice. Maybe when they overcome, I can also overcome. And I am starting to do a little practice. But then I thought maybe it is not sufficient because my life is already finished. And I am not very much concentrated. But then after a few days again, I have idea. Many years ago, I went in Nepal, in Marathika, in a place of the Guru Pamasambhava. And at that time, I received a teaching of the Mandarava practice, long life practice, in my dream. So then I wrote down this. And I am, then later when I arrived in Italy, then I am doing this practice. Also, I give some of my students this practice. And in this practice, what I wrote down, it is the same. That means even is a consumed life, at least 7 years is developed, can live. Then I thought maybe I finished it. It means finished the life. But still there is a possibility if I do this practice 7 years more. and that I should do this practice. Then I am essence of this practice, I am concentrated. And then after 20 years, 20 days, when I did this practice, doctors said my illness is completely disappeared. Doctors, they are very satisfied because they are thinking, oh, their research, their medicine is fantastic. And in the New York Times, there had been 2 or 3 times articles. I am becoming example for them. So then I had very confidence later. Then I am thinking, oh, it is very important in Tibetan medicine. Danchen and Dame, this we distinguish well. If there is a Danchen, there is any kind of a provocation, it's very important. We do kind of a practice, because in medicine there is also many Garuda practice, except for controlling negativities. No? So then we are doing and combining medicine also, what we are taking in the therapy, everything is becoming active when there is controlled energy. If we are not controlled the energy, then medicine couldn't have successful, no? For that reason, then I have this idea. Danchen and Dame, this is very important for doctors, really distinguish, and we need to use. It is the time is finished. Thank you very much. I am very happy to be with you, really.
Rinpoche, is it possible that we can maybe take a few questions from the audience? Questions? Questions?
Questions?
Yeah.
If you want.
If you want.
Tak kon ke tua ka se yo na diga ade. Tua hangot na. Kap kali kon tua chen ngot chog mdo. Ka se yo na.
Does anyone have a question from the audience?
Rinpoche, can you mention one moment of your relationship, one moment, one time with Professor Tucci that was most meaningful to you, was most important with Professor Tucci? One example.
Non ho capito. Dice cosa ha detto? Non ho capito bene.
Se puoi dire un esempio di un momento che è stato importante con il professor Tucci, se puoi fare un esempio di questo.
Professor Tucci, when invited me, I heard Professor Tucci, he went 7 times in Tibet. He has the biggest collection of the Tibetan books. For that reason, then, also he is doing research about Tibetan history, etc. These things, when I heard, then I am convinced to go in Italy. Before, almost I am going in Japan. There is a professor invited me, and it seems interesting, but I never, not yet decided to go there. And then I come in Italy. When I am being, of course, with Professor Tucci, I am very much interested how should do research. Because I studied many things, but I have no much idea how should do research. How is important doing research? These things I have no idea. So when I worked with Professor Tucci, automatically I learned how should do research, what it meant doing research, which is important. Then, later, when I'm being in a university, I try to develop that.
Good morning, Rinpoche. Thank you for coming. This is a big question, but any which way you would like to answer would be wonderful. But can you talk a little bit about Dzogchen and medicine practice? Any which way you'd like to answer, it would be beautiful.
Ha detto una domanda molto grande.
Eh?
Ha detto una domanda molto grande.
Sì.
Se puoi parlare un po' dello Dzogchen e della pratica della medicina.
Pratica della medicina. Pratica.
Sì, della medicina.
Va bene. Dzogchen means really, meaning of Dzogchen, it means our real condition. The purpose of Dzogchen teaching is for discovering our real condition. This is not only in Dzogchen, but all teachings, also in Sutra, also in Tantra. Final goal is for discovering our real nature. We are being in our real nature. But Dzogchen characteristic teaching is going directly in that. So then how is our aspect of the body, speech, mind, how it is related with it then, which is called then three vajras, nature of the body in the speech and mind. That is how related when we are speaking in the Sutra teaching and the Vajrayana teaching. It is the final condition is Dharmakaya, Sambhagakaya, Nimanakaya, all are related with that. And then for discovering that and being in that state, definitely. This is called in the Dzogchen teaching a realization. So then there is many aspects, the base and the path and the fruit, then slowly can develop. When we are saying medicine, medicine is also in a teaching, it is very important. Really, sense of the medicine is we can understand. For example, name of the Buddha Shakyamuni is we are saying in the great physician, for example. This is one of the name of the Buddha Shakyamuni. It doesn't mean Buddha is checking illness and giving medicine, etc. But because medicine, illness, which we have a problem, it has which is called in Tibetan Rinju and Nyeju. Rinju, it means the cause, the origin cause is three emotions. Nyeju, it means then lung kiba peke, disordered. Why disordered? Because related with this three emotions: attachment, ignorance, and then anger. So these are then base of the illness, originally. For that reason, Buddha's teaching is for overcoming that. So for that reason, Memba Chenpo, it means really total, then not having that knowledge. So then even our daughters are not Memba Chenpo, but is a member, no? Is who are curing. So even not Buddha, but following that direction and doing benefits for others, is then we are knowing also illness, how is related with the lung and the tipa and the back end, that is related with the body and the speech and mind in a relative condition, So this is the principle of the medicine, and we are doing that way. Sometimes we say, we do medicine, also practice something just like, then there is the mantras, also mantra of the Buddha, of the medicine, etc., But the principle is the most important is the knowledge, How is the root, origin? How is the then relative condition we have then disordered, etc., and how we can coordinate. So, for example, in Tibetan medicine, law, for example, these are many important things. Or something not correspond with our condition, delays, or too much, or then contrary. For example, lung, tebapekin, etc. So, then when we are studying medicine, we can understand more these things. Okay.
Rinpoche, thank you for being here with us today. I wanted to ask, you had mentioned that there were Ayurvedic and Indian influences and Chinese influences and Bon influences in the Menla tradition, and I was wondering what the emphasis or what unique Bon influences there are in the practice of Tibetan medicine as distinct from the other traditions.
Meglio chiarire bene.
Nella medicina tibetana c'è un'influenza dell'Ayurveda,
Sì.
eccetera. Dice qual è la cosa che proprio caratterizza la medicina tibetana, la proprio caratteristica.
Io penso I think the characteristic of the Tibetan medicine is more related with the original Tibetan medicine. For example, when you are checking and reading, etc., you can ask a little this for Dr. Tutenpunso, because he read this origin of the books of the Tibetan medicine, etc. Really, it is something concrete, that. But then, the second more influenced is, of course, Ayurveda tradition, because Ayurveda Tibetan medicine is very developed, and then included also Chinese tradition and also Tajikistan tradition, etc. There are many traditions is combined together. When you are reading history of the medicine, there is all these explanations in the different generations of the Tibetan kings, no?
So Rinpoche, I would like to introduce you to Tim McHenry. He is the director of the Rubin Museum. He'd like to present you with a gift, and we have a few more presentations for you.
Rinpoche, welcome back to the Rubin. It's wonderful to have you here again, sir. I asked the question about Giuseppe Tucci because you'll be pleased to know that next autumn, we're exhibiting a major two-floor show of Giuseppe Tucci's findings. He was one of the great scholars and explorers of Tibet and the Trans-Himalayan region in the 1930s right through to the 50s. And so this will be a really fascinating exposition of his findings of an exploration of all these cultures. But Rinpoche, in acknowledgement of your great transmissions and your teachings and your perpetuation and of understanding of Tibetan medicine, we wanted, on the occasion of this conference and also of the exhibition upstairs, Bodies in Balance, to present you with a copy of the catalogue for the exhibition, which you'll also be happy to know has plentiful references to the Bonpo. So, and Shangshong. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is for you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everybody. You are present.
And we'd like to present you this on behalf of Atma and the Shangshung for your time and your great contribution to Tibetan medicine.
Photo.
Sayata Om